I'm Chris Nesbitt. I am the CEO and founder of Alpha 3D Professionals. For the most part, we are a product development and prototyping firm out of Traverse City here, but mostly predominantly focused on 3D printing. Okay.
Thank you.
So Alpha 3D Professionals is a bootstrap corporation out of Traverse City focusing predominantly on 3D printing. This is our print farm. We currently are running 8 FDM 3D printers here in Traverse City. If things continue going the way that they've been going, we will be tripling that capacity within 12 months. So we're growing very, very quickly. Again, we're going to be talking mostly about what we do here in Traverse City. It boils down to about 5 basic components. We do a lot of industrial prototyping, prop development for production companies, product development, 3D printer training, and repair and service in the 3D printing world. So we'll go through each one of those a little bit more in depth and show you some of the projects that we've been working on. Starting with industrial prototyping. This was actually a pneumatic terminal insertion press tooling prototype that we developed for Bay Motor Products here in Traverse City. That actually got used in production, so it is a working terminal insertion press. The way it works is you put it into a pneumatic press at the top there, and this ribbon looking thing that goes through the middle clicks down and through as it cycles through, and a pneumatic clipper comes in, cuts it off. But that was a 12-part assembly that had to get fitted together. They did actually use that for a little while before they switched over to their stainless steel. This is a jig fixture for their assembly process. Again, this was used in process prior to moving to full tooling. If anybody of you know that particular company, they're boosting a product line, and this has actually proved invaluable for them. And I just threw this one in here real quick because I thought it was kind of interesting. All these are from the same company, but this was an injection molded part, and this was their new design done in stereolithography, 3D printing. You can see that they are very similar, and the prototypes worked flawlessly. Just for point of reference, these are bobbins for their copper spools. So another area that we're really excited about that the company is continuing to grow in is prop development. We're working with production companies, both at the play level as well as working with a movie company that is filming a movie here in Traverse City. The first one that we did was for the Shrek musical over at the Old Town Playhouse. Lars Kalto, good guy, he gave us a call and said, we need some donated props. Are you willing and interested? I said, absolutely. So he shot us some CAD. We developed the hooves that you see in the picture there. They were used throughout the entire production. We ended up donating 3 sets to them. One was the initial set. He broke those, so we gave him a backup and a replacement for that backup, just in case. Oops. I mentioned that we were starting to work with a film company. Future Kings is shooting their investment reel for a feature-length presentation right here in Traverse City. This is a master that we developed for the casting process, making plastic parts, copies of something that you've already developed. So we developed a master for them. They needed some futuristic looking helmets, and in order for them to get what they needed, it had to be custom and fast turnaround. So we have been working with them to develop that. We've got a couple shots in here of that helmet in the movie. As you can see, they've turned out very good, and they've also been working with us to develop a 75-foot model or scale model of the Mackinac Bridge. So we're going to be doing a lot of aggressive props for them as we move forward. That's still in process. So product development is the area of the company that actually is growing the fastest and is certainly the largest department in the company. We are taking conceptual ideas and developing it all the way to the point where we can usher people into manufacturing. So not only is it we're making these prototypes for them, but we're also helping them with the tooling, we're helping them with the getting the shots done and managing that manufacturing process for them. So this is a tennis trainer that was developed. As you can see, there's a lot of components that go into it, from weights to hardware, and that's just everything broken down. Those were all 3D printed parts. One of our specialties is finishing, so this is kind of towards the end of the finishing cycle. We're putting a rubber insulator on the back to pad out that weight, and when everything is all said and done, it looks like that. It goes onto a tennis racket, screws down, and clamps onto the tennis racket. This is actually a product that we've helped them patent, and we are moving towards mass manufacturing with them in the near future. This is a great example of how varied our industry can be. So we got sent this really nasty clay model of a part, but it was all that the client had for what they wanted to develop. They're developing a new style of earbud that allows for hearing protection as well as entertainment and pass-through audio signals. So this is, we ended up 3D scanning that part. This is the data we got back. We needed to capture basically this part right here and use this for a size reference. We were able to then manipulate that into a more aesthetic and functional CAD rendering. That CAD rendering then went into the printer and we made the first prototype for fit, form, and function. From there, we actually took them through a full focus and test group cycle. We ended up making 50 sets for them of their product, and those went out into the field and ended up looking something like this. So basically this is in process, actually being used as hearing protection as well as being able to hear music or whatever's going on around them as well. This is another product that has patent pending. So this is, we're working with some very new and innovative ideas, and we're able to provide things at a much lower cost than what normal prototyping processes would allow for. So that brings us to 3D printer training. Now the next two sections are kind of sections that we got tossed into without really even thinking we were going to be involved in them. We thought we were only going to be doing the physical stuff, and then we ended up doing all this other stuff behind it. So the 3D printer training, and one of the guys is in the audience from the next slide. Mike Garola. So we're working very closely with the Traverse City School System on their 3D printer integration program. It's something that we're very passionate about. All the consultation side of this is all pro bono. We're working on integrating the technology into the field so that kids are getting exposure to it, so that kids are learning from it, so that they're actually getting hands-on time with 3D printers. So we have we're part of a program called the 3D Printing PLC that basically manages these 3D printers going into the school system, and then I kind of help from the logistics and troubleshooting and basically troubleshooting mostly. So this is actually, we were giving the kids their first 3D printer in this classroom, and this is Jeff Bonozzo. He was kind of talking about how it's being used and what he's hoping to use it for. He's actually been one of the better pilots that we've had in the program for that particular area. But we also do this on a commercial side of things too. So we do this, we come into businesses and talk about how it would affect the workflow. Can it be used in your business? Is it a good fit? You know, and then if you do decide to end up going with a 3D printer and say, I want to put a professional version of this in, then we also do the training and troubleshooting for you as well. So repair and service, this is definitely something that I was not planning on getting involved in with the business, but it's certainly something that came up really quickly. 3D printers, as you can well imagine, being such new tech at the level it's at, break. And they break fairly quickly and consistently. So we ended up, over the summer, we developed a repair and service program that works with the Traverse City School Systems now to repair the printers that go down, and there's not really a whole lot of options out there for getting those fixed and repaired. So we've been doing a lot of those repairs for the school system lately. This is just an example of some of the things that'll happen. We had a cracked glass bed. All the pictures you see here are actually repairs from the print farm, but you get the basic idea. Replacing said cracked build plate, and then this is our team of interns that basically piloted this program for the R&D and service part of the company. And they've also gotten a little deeper into the software and tried to figure out why these things are breaking, what are the things that we can change, and you know, how to make better prints and make these printers work better. So they've been awesome, and that basically brings me to the end of my presentation, and that gives us an opportunity for questions. Is there anybody with questions? Yep.
How many other 3D printers are there in the area?
There is one other gentleman that is working on selling 3D printers, but as far as people who actually 3D print, I'm predominantly the main option. So.
Yeah, I have a weird question.
Yeah, I like those.
Okay, good. So when you go online, you look up 3D printers, and a lot of them have those studios with the cameras that get you from every angle, so you can like make little action figures of various people.
Mm-hmm.
anything like that, or are you entertaining the idea of having?
We've entertained it, yeah. It's certainly not cost efficient. And really, the 3D scanning for reverse engineering has been the closest thing that we've come to utilizing that type of technology. Most of the time, what people use that for is scanning a person and getting a copy made. What a lot of people don't understand, to get those full color copies, you're looking at $100, $200 a pop for a decent sized one, and maybe it's only your head or something like that, and then the quality's not great. So, and then to set up that system is tens of thousands of dollars to get enough cameras to be able to do that, to have high enough quality cameras to do that. So we have entertained the idea. I haven't seen a lot of draw personally doing what I do to bring one of those in, but I certainly think that there's a lot of places around the country that are doing it. We just haven't really found the need for it just yet, predominantly because we do a lot of prototyping and product development. So,
if you had the resources to focus on what you wanted to and where and when you wanted to, what would that be? What would the business look like in 3 or 4 years?
In 3 or 4 years, I'd like to get a lot more aggressive. Right now we're working with a lot of simple products, simple parts. I'd certainly like to see, as this technology evolves and we start to bring in more and more equipment, I'd like to start thinking about working in the aerospace industry, in the military industry. But right now, based on where we're at with our capital, product development is kind of bootstrapping us up to that level. So over the next couple of years, it'll definitely, and we've been rolling everything that the company makes back into the company, and we've been growing aggressively based on that.
So how much manual intervention is required to produce all these products?
A lot. And that's really where a lot of the expertise has come into it. So the machinery itself doesn't produce a perfect part. There's a lot of layer lines involved. There is technology out there that will produce very aesthetically pleasing parts, but that technology is very expensive. We do have access to it, but we don't use it as much because it doesn't necessarily make the client happy when they see a big price tag, and it doesn't make us happy because we're not making enough money off of it. So we do a lot of manual finishing. As we vertically integrate, and I've talked about that a little bit tonight, we have a very aggressive vertical integration structure, and we're getting much faster and more efficient at that every month that we go down the road. So our turnaround used to be a month or 2 at a time, and now we're looking at a couple days to turn around, say, the helmet.
How many different materials are you printing?
I have access to about 45 different materials. In-house, we utilize about 5 tops. You can do most things with the ABS plastic that I show. Most of the time, people are really just looking for that fit, form, function, and aren't necessarily looking as much to mechanical properties. So, but the goal is to move into metal. We're going to bring casting, metal casting and machining into the picture, and hopefully everything just keeps getting better and better and better. Metal printers are still about $1.2 million though, so it's a little ways off.